Hey, did Craig follow you guys out to the tournament this weekend?
Yeah,
No, he was
I
a
locked him in the
no-show.
van. No, I
Okay.
locked him in the
Oh,
van.
that's where he was.
Yeah,
Smart. Yeah, that's a good place for him. Can't get in
I
too much trouble without the keys.
I didn't want him singing and shit at the
I'm
tournament and causing a disturbance.
guys. It was 105 degrees in Charleston this weekend. Did you kill him? You locked
Oh
him in the
shit!
van?
I didn't get him out of the van. He's still in the
Is he
van.
still in there?
Oh, my
no!
God.
Well, this is the worst intro ever.
It was
Oh, no.
117 degrees today.
Oh my God.
I saw a thing of somebody literally cooking a pizza in their car by putting it on the dash today.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
I actually brought some of my 3D printed terrain because I didn't know, what we needed when we went
melt.
there. And when I pulled it out of my house, I never actually used it, but somebody left it in the car all weekend. And it was a couple of like obelisks and stuff that I had painted. And I picked them up, and they're not as erect as they used to be.
They're a little gooey.
With the curve to the left.
A little bit of curve to the left now. Yeah.
Welcome to the Grumpy Dungeon Masters podcast. I'm Jay, joined with my co-host Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Hello there.
All right, Christian, where can they find us on social medias?
You can find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters podcast on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and on YouTube. You can also usually find us streaming on Tuesday and Thursday evenings on Twitch TV, currently making our way through the game Soul Mask.
Yeah.
I'm back. I don't know who's in the room recording us right now because Craig is in my van. He's been cooked thoroughly. Turns out orc smells like pork.
Bacon.
And,
yeah. Smells like bacon.
So
Well,
I guess this is Craig's brother. They look the same. Is this Geark?
Oh, is this Greg?
No,
yeah,
Geark.
Geark. Yeah.
Yeah. He showed up. He showed up a couple years ago before you guys joined us, when Craig had suffered some injuries.
You lock him in the van then?
No, he just he got hit by a truck.
Anyway, this intro turned out really dark.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. All right. So what are we talking about this weekend? I know you guys had a busy weekend.
Yeah, I hosted a Keshinar themed Dungeons and Dragons tournament, the third Grumpy Dungeon Master tournament that I've put together and run.
So what is
Here
Keshinar?
Why don't you talk about it? Because since you interrupted me.
No, it's you're the one who ran the tournament. Explain what Keshinar is.
I was getting there and you interrupted me. Shush. So I ran it here at my local gaming store. Yeah, Energy Gamers. We had 7 tables turn out for it. And the question I got the most during the entire time was, what is a D&D tournament? So I'll kind of go through and explain here real quick what a D&D tournament is. It's basically Tomb of Horrors. You have a dungeon where there's traps that can kill you real fast, monsters that are well beyond the level CR of the group. But the kind of whole point is to kind of get in there and just do your best, open some doors, kill some monsters, loot some treasures, get points, and the people with the most points at the end wins. So, like I said, this was the third tournament that I was able to put together. The first one was the Tomb of Refurbishment that I wrote as a sequel to the Tomb of Horrors. The Grumpy Dungeon Masters, at the time, just Jay and I, bought the Tomb of Horrors for copper on the gold pieces.
It was really cheap.
Yeah, because in the lore of Tomb of Horrors, too many adventurers had found it. Vecna came through and ruined it, and it just wasn't in the shape that it once was. So we refurbished it, and we were able to just keep it running. And that was the first tournament. The second tournament, my daughter helped me write. She wanted to have a pyramid with a sphinx because she thought that monster was cool. So I did it that way. and it cost me a boatload of money to put that on. So this year, due to our connections and our friends that we've made through Orthane Productions and David Haddon, I was able to secure them as a sponsor, and I was able to run a Keshinar themed tournament. So Keshinar is an Egyptian themed D&D setting created by David Haddon that he's been running since he was in high school, he said. And pretty much it's, if ancient Egypt kept going forward in time and was just the prominent culture of the world instead of like your high level medieval fantasy style stuff, everything is, Egyptian themed. He went out of his way to make sure that the stuff that's Egyptian is actually accurate to Egyptian lore. So it's not just like, Stargate, I guess is the best example. Christian, you're a big Egyptologist kind of person. What are your thoughts on Keshinar versus everything else?
Okay, well, first to clarify, I am not an Egyptologist. I am
Yeah, you are.
I am
More than
a
me.
sure. I am a amateur or armchair Egyptian history fan. But that said, I do read, watch a lot of documentaries, and but I think it does a very good job of doing exactly what it says. What David calls it is Egyptian inspired, right? It wants to be accurate to the things that he thinks are cool in its representation of how it does certain things, but it's not trying to be completely historically accurate. It is meant to be its own fantasy setting, just taking the elements and some of the mythology and stories of ancient Egypt and extrapolating that onto a fantasy world instead of our world. So I think it does a great job of it. I love how much detail there is in there. Lots of little things that I like that I've read, and David and I were batting stuff back and forth at dinner, talking about the different kind of ways that over the course of 4,000 years of history of Egyptian civilization, like they're kind of different groups of deities and cultures and beliefs kind of rise and fall, and gods change and merge together, and things move. So overall, I love it because of that, because I'm such a nerd for that kind of history and mythology. So it's a fun setting for me.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying it because like I'm not the biggest Egyptian fan. Like I I've always been much more into like I know, right? The Lord of the Rings style stuff. So
Oh, that's
when we
fair.
met David and started getting into the Egyptian stuff, my grandmother was really big into everything, and I've heard conflicting stories from my family about her going out there and like actually like translating hieroglyphs and stuff like that, and actually helping college professors work on stuff, and so
Grinding up
it's always
mummies
been
and putting them in her
yeah,
tea.
yeah. So I kind of took it as a challenge to kind of like engross myself in Kashnar and write some stuff. And it's, everything that David has in the story and the stuff that he's told me and the campaign that he's writing is awesome. And I'm really excited for that and helping him out further with doing that. But it's a blank canvas for creators to kind of like jump into a world that doesn't have much baggage, I guess would be the best way to explain it. Baggage associated to it. On one hand, I love Faerun because I just have to find what Ed Greenwood thinks about something to find the right answer. And on this hand with Keshinar, it's like, well, how do the trolls work? And that's actually how I approached this dungeon is like, how do your trolls work in your world? I kind of want to use them for this. Oh, I don't have any lore for this, Chris. Do what you want. All right. And I got to make up the lore for how trolls came to being and how they existed and how they evolved and all that cool stuff with him. So it was a lot of fun being able to sit back and do that.
It's what we call
So
a fruitful void.
yeah.
It's a blank space, and so often deliberately so that there's room for DMs and other creators to breathe in an established world.
Yeah. So I've been just having tons of fun with it. And I thought I built a decent dungeon. It was smaller than the other ones, but I kind of did that on purpose because I realized that in the other two tournaments, no one got even close to the end. And I wanted to have a little bit more of a free roaming area that people can kind of go in and out of, unlike like Tomb of Horrors, which has like one direction and it's just death all the way down to the very end. So I hopefully that I got across a little bit and people were able to roam around and go to different places. I know you guys have stories, which we'll get into it. But I think the tournament went well. It's again had 7 tables. A lot were from my normal weekly Adventure League game. We had some other people show up as well. I think some people that came were from the Nerd Fest that I was a part of the week before. And I just generally got to sit around and do what I needed to do and fill in the gaps where, even though I stayed up till 4 a.m. the previous night trying to get that document ready and all the flaws and everything worked out of it. Everyone found more stuff. So if I run this again, I gotta definitely get in there and revamp some few things, but I'm excited to take it further, run more tournaments with it, and maybe even turn it into like a small modules of sorts, and actually have more levels in the pyramid beyond just the 2 that I had there. So like Dan and Christian, you guys came down, you guys were able to run 2 games. Dan, I gave you essentially my table that I had at Adventures League that I keep bringing up that you keep complaining about whenever they do something. And Christian, you had the other table at Adventures League, the Somerville store, essentially. Except for Eddie. Eddie usually is on my table, but he's been split off on the other table because my table fills up so fast and he gets there a little late. So who wants to go first and tell us about your guys' experience with the tournament and what crazy stuff your players did?
I don't know that they did anything crazy. They did do some foolish things, but they were definitely in character for the most part.
Yeah.
So essentially, the tournament begins with you going down this effectively an elevator into a upside down pyramid, and you get to the main floor, and the first vestibule, the room you describe, has a locked glowing door to the north, a locked door to the south, and an open area to the east that goes that has a niche just beyond the opening that has a pair of partially damaged statues in it, and each of those statues has a blindfold on. I went over it a couple times, described the room twice for them, described the stone tablets as basically as the controls for the elevator so they can actually go down even further into it or go back up. And they, I think they had the bug that they needed to just move quickly and, get to as many rooms as they could because they did not even like ask questions other than, oh, these 2 doors are locked. We don't have a rogue. Fuck it. Let's keep going. And they just went straight ahead. And I described the blindfolded statues, and the guys, the paladin's like, oh, what are the statues of? And it's like, oh, two of the deities. You recognize them. Like, oh, well, then I don't know why there's a blindfold on, so I'm gonna go take the blindfold off. I'm like, okay, I take the blindfold off. I need to give me a dex save. And he fails that dex save, and he ends up finding himself disintegrated because the blindfold was there for a very good reason. So people didn't get disintegrated. So of
Don't
course
look,
now
Marion. Don't look.
So you had 2 options if you end up dying. Essentially, you get docked points if you die. It's extra points if you die in the first hour. It kind of slowly reduces the longer into the module you get. But his option was either respawn essentially as the exact same character at the elevator, which is the whole party's right there anyway, so might as well, or just grab one of the other 5 characters that were created. And he's like, I just learned this character, I'm just gonna play this guy. That seems fine. But they still have the issue of, well, we don't have a rogue and we can't pick locks. Like, okay, well, what do you guys do? And for whatever reason, it does not occur to any of them to try to put the blindfold back on. At least not yet. So the cleric had some sort of ability that gave him like a +10 to ability checks. So in D&D 5.5, you don't need these tools to open up doors, open locks. I double checked and it was like, in fact, if you do have these tools, you get advantage on it. I'm like, that's dumb. You just got to make a sleight of hand check? Sure. So it makes a sleight of hand check and it rolls like a 25. I'm like, okay, yeah, door opens, goes to the next room. And they managed to basically fumble their way around, like, and circumvent the main path through the temple through the pyramid that I think most of the other groups probably took. So my group completely like did not actually encounter really the first rooms that I think all the rest of the groups probably encountered until almost the last hour. But that was probably the funniest thing. I forgot to mention. Before they picked the lock to the one door they could open, the druid decided he was going to get a running start and try to run through the two statues. Again, not not blindfolding it again or throwing something over it. And he got himself disintegrated too. So my group actually did very, very well. The only points they got docked were they got healed once by a druid, and the two of them died in the first 10 minutes. Otherwise, they did really well.
Yeah, they're a solid group. Like they if I have a puzzle or a challenge in like the game, and usually I run whatever is provided by WotC or whatnot, they usually figure it out fairly quickly, and they usually find a very creative solution to the things. And I know you've complained about some of their solutions in the past. You know, what we did before with the guy running down the street with the spirit guardians active, murdering 30 people. Like,
that's not a complaint. That's hilarious. First off, second off, still evil as hell.
Yes, yes, that.
My only complaint. It's not anything against the players. It's against 5e in the way 5e is trained players. Every room we went to, I would read out this description that Chris had written, and he'd done a really good map as well that had in fact more stuff on the map than was in the description. But rather than asking what individual things were for the most part, they would just be like, I'm gonna make a perception check. What do I see? Like they just go ahead and start rolling their dice before I even called for any sort of check or anything like that. And I was like, well, I just gave you the description. I got a 24. I'm like, I gave you the description already. Where are you guys looking? What are you guys looking at? Oh, you're looking behind the throne? Yes, now you can make a perception check. just I'm walking in the room making a perception check isn't it's just D&D 5e just calls for rolls when it's not necessary. And I don't know how I existed in that space for so long and was not annoyed by it. And I guess I kind of wasn't a lot of times, because when I wasn't playing the skill monkey, the skill rogue, I was the guy that's like, why the fuck are we taking the time to roll these fucking things? Like, it doesn't matter if he fails his check. There's nothing happening right now.
Yeah,
so
I do find that weird too, because they, even in the newer adventures, they really do hide a lot in like the very specific kind of like, okay, if they do an investigation check in this room, then they find X MacGuffin. If not, then they have to go, around the long way to, find something. So a lot of times I've noticed that people just kind of go, is there anything I can do in this room? Religion, nature, arcade. They start naming all the skills, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
but like
that's a holdover from as recently as D&D 3e. I mean, people are like, oh yeah, well, I have knowledge arcana, nature, and planar. Can I make a roll?
Yeah,
sure, man.
Yeah,
it's where D&D went from trying to use your head to think about the situation with what description you were given in the world and what you can do with it, to pressing buttons on your character sheet to be like, which one of these does something.
Yeah.
Granted, by the same token, I mean, sometimes I don't mind skill checks. Like, one of the players, the paladin, is like, listen, I don't know anything about Egyptian Egyptian theology here, but I'm a paladin and I have religion trained. Can I make a religion check for this trivia question? I feel like my character should know, but I don't. I'm like, sure, man. And he had just bought a book. I'm like, he rolled a 22 or something like that. I'm like, go and look at the Pantheon and check it out. It's an open book test for you. You have a 22 on your religion test. Is it because like a DC 12 religion check, or for all the common gods? Because none of the questions were terribly hard. But if you don't know Egyptian lore, yeah, you're not going to know it.
Yeah, I think it was a different table. Like they had a couple people that knew a lot about Egyptian stuff, and
my table.
I think, yeah, your table for one, but also like Dungeon Lord Jay's table. They had some people, and like they're like, no, I think the answer is actually this other thing, and that's when I was told by David that I copied and pasted one of the answers wrong.
Oh yeah, David and I both picked it up because
who invented?
he looked back at me and he was like, "Hey, Chris," I was like, "Yeah, I saw it." He was like, "Okay."
I don't know.
So yeah, I had to go around and fix that, and people were like, "Yeah, I knew it. I knew that was Toth." And
yeah,
so,
even I knew that, and I'm not all that deep in Egyptian lore myself, but yeah, it was a fun game. My group got all the way to the end, just short of the end rather. There's two final rooms in the lower end of the pyramid, and the goal was in addition to exploring the entire space, and recovering items and things like that, was also to recover missing villagers and druids that had went down there before. So they had asked the Oracle where all the rest of the druids were, and they had managed to save the ones that were on that first level, and then they had to go down to the next level because that's where the rest of them were. But by the time they got down to the next level and got like all the druids, the villagers, the cats, there's like a cage full of cats, a cow, and like the extra villager. But after they had gotten them all out, they got down to the lower level, and there was 4 mummified trolls that would immediately rise from their slabs where they were resting as soon as somebody tried to open the door to the end boss. And of course, that's as far as they got, because they had managed to take a long rest. They would have definitely defeated the 4 trolls and gotten to the end part, but they maybe dilly-dallied a little too long. But that, by that token, I don't, Chris, tell me if I'm wrong. Did anybody actually get to that end boss and get through him?
no one got through him. I think all the tables were fighting him at like the stroke of the 4th hour, or near the end of the 4th hour. The only table that like survived, quote unquote, but didn't like complete the dungeon was the winners. Actually, they went, you know what, it's 15 minutes to the end, we're still alive, let's just get the fuck out of here, and they left. And so like I kind of don't blame them. Like if I was the adventuring party and they knew that there was a time limit and there was a whole another floor.
I'm pretty sure 90% of the groups forgot about what the time limit actually was, because you had announced it at the very beginning of the 4 hours until teleportation of pyramid.
Yeah.
And like, clearly that group picked up on it. I don't think my group picked up on it.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just do this. Let's keep on going. So.
Yeah. So Christian, what about your group?
My group was great. I was a little nervous going to this thing. I have not run a game table at like a game store or something, or for people I don't already know well, since I was in college. When I was in college, I would run a regular game at the game store there. But that's been a long time. But I had great group of players. They were a lot of fun. I hope they had a blast playing in it, because I'd run stuff for them again. They were a good time. I think they did very well. They started off much like Dan's group decided they had to know what was under the the bags on the statue heads. Just couldn't help themselves.
That's awesome.
I had one player playing a paladin that he is the adventuring party's bane, but he is every dungeon master's dream, because he was the guy that wanted to touch everything and get into everything. So he was a lot of fun. But most of the time they did pretty well. Some of the stuff they kind of figured out by accidents. They did a pretty good job of not. I think because I gave them descriptions and didn't say the word troll, they weren't really sure what they were facing at first for a while until somebody was just like saw them like regenerating, looked at the art on the tokens and was like, have I heard of trolls? Can I make a check to see if I've heard of these things?
I should have really made that a scored point, like just like a universal, like if someone does a study check to figure out that these are trolls,
Yeah, because they
let them. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys was using that study action because they were having a hard time with the first one they ran into was that lightning troll right up there, and they were smart enough that they turned the barrier off right away.
Okay.
But they were because he was initially he was immune to fire, one of the normal weaknesses of trolls. So they had a second where they were trying to figure out was it, and apparently at one point the warlock decided, well, we're gonna get the scatter, get out of here, and used acid, and they were like, and then it died, and they were like, oh, wait a minute, okay.
Yeah, my group had a similar issue whenever they went into the room with the forge master who had like a metal hand that was shaped like a hammer, and like the druid was like, oh, I'm gonna heat metal his hand. I'm like, okay, he takes damage from that because they weren't immune to fire, but this guy was like his regeneration did not stop because of fire. So so they drop him, and he stands back up, attacks them, drops again because of the heat metal that's on his hand, and they're like, okay, we gotta do something. Does anybody have anything else that we can hit him with? Because the ranger and the paladin just continuously just keep on beating on him, and they're like, hey, how about the thing that disintegrated me earlier? The two of them dragged the body over to the two statues, and as soon as their troll regenerates and stands up, it gets disintegrated.
So yeah, I did not plan for that to happen at all, but I'm so glad that it happened.
Oh yeah, that's an absolutely clever use of that, because we had discussed, because I had pointed out one of the monsters was immune to his regeneration could not be stopped by fire or acid. I was like, that's gonna be rough. How do you defeat it? And like, well, if you drag it out of the room that it's in, then it can be stopped by fire. And that was just kind of the solution we just come up with off the cuff. And I was like, then after my PCs did that, I was like, oh yeah, they can just drag the body over there. They'll regenerate 15 hit points. It's got to get disintegrated. The minimum's going to kill it.
Right. I had intended for like the statues not to fire, but like once a minute, because I didn't want them to. So when I was dreaming up the dungeon, the never-ending story was just in my head for some reason.
I mean, it lives rent-free there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the statue with the knight trying to get by, and the two like Egyptian goddess statues that fried him. That's what I wanted to duplicate, but I didn't want to have those statues there and just eliminate the entire team, one after the other. So I put like a minute delay on it. But then I realized when you guys were doing it, and more and more people were just like dragging the troll out in front of it and just waiting, and just it stands up and gets disintegrated. I'm like, well, shit, that's working real well. So, yeah.
I mean, as you had written it, I feel like that was kind of the intent behind those things, because it was those statues were there to prevent the experiments from escaping. So if they tried to escape, they would get disintegrated.
Right.
So I mean, I felt like they locked onto what it was supposed to be for and used it for their its actual intent.
Yeah, it wasn't something I accounted for, but they did it great. Like I said, I think if I were to retype up the scoring, like using the statue to eliminate a creature, what would be like an extra like 10 points. Like that's I think that's smart. Not everyone did it, but I thought that was cool.
I think like
Yeah.
getting rid of a regenerating troll that is already down, maybe some points, but definitely if you lure one in there somehow,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, my party did mostly good. Once they keyed onto the fact that they were going to need fire or acid, and they figured out that some of them were immune to one of them, and that means they would need to do the other one. And they figured out pretty quickly that the obvious acid troll in the acid room, they're like, well, there's no way we're going to kill it while it's in there because it's constantly healing from that. So they did a pretty good move of they refused to go in there after it, except the monk who has enough movement to run in there, smack the thing, and then disengage and run out. And then the other heroes just sit there and like pelted it with a couple of javelins and just taunted it, so it came up to the door where they stood. And the cleric had an ability where it can bind something in place. So they
Nice.
held it in place there at the doorway to prevent it from retreating further. And then they beat the crap out of it at the doorway there until they got it down, and then immediately just yoinked it into the room. And they're like, "Hey, is this thing that's like an open? You said they were using this like burst open pipe as a forge. There's fire coming out of it." And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Great, we stuffed the troll in that."
Yeah, my group, I guess with how old DMs we are, we just kind of assume everybody, especially in a one shot, just has standard adventuring gear. But we had stuff written down in the character sheets that mattered, like 300 gold pieces worth of diamond dust so you can revivify somebody, things like that, and whatever your armor and weapons are for the most part. But it didn't detail out, I think, your explorer's pack that you had, torches in it and flint and tinder. So like in the middle of it, like they were pretty far away from any of the stuff that could readily take out a troll's regeneration. So they're like, do we have torches? So one of the people would drop everything in their hands and light a torch and then toss it to the next person who was able to act in order to just drop the torch on the troll so they would burn just a little bit and not regenerate, which I thought was also a pretty decent idea because it's just classic way of killing a troll. Attack with torch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you had that cleansing room, that magic cleansing room.
Yeah.
My party, to their credit, did approach that pretty carefully. They saw the like two things that they pretty quickly identified. They didn't know exactly what type of golems, but they knew there were some sort of constructs. And so they experimented that in a way that somebody lost their saying. Somebody walked in with a magic weapon, and they're like, "I'm just going to see what happens. Everyone else stay here." So they walked in just to see if they were hostile, because you had described them with these weird like brush things, and they're like, "What do you mean brush?" And I was like, "I don't know. Look at like the things that come down and like hit your car, scrub your car when you go through those drive-through car washes." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the arm." And they're like, "Well, that's weird." So he's like, "All right, I'm going to try something. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to do anything hostile. I'm going to see what happens." So they came up and they brushed it. And it's like, "Hey, do you have anything magic up?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've got my weapon. It's +1." I was like, "Okay." So it goes up there and just scrubs the thing down. They're like, "Uh-oh." But they figured out that, like, so they're like, okay. After that, they figured out, okay, they don't like magic. So somebody went in there, dropped all their gear, and just went in there without anything, and nothing activated. They're like, "Oh, okay." So, and then they're like, "Okay, well," they looked around at the other doorways and said, "Okay, well, nothing's that far away. We can run across here." Before they did, the paladin decided, "What's this thing in the middle?" And he said, "It looks like a big table." He's like, "Yeah, it looks like a table, maybe the kind where an experiment would sit, like a Frankenstein would rise up. Maybe one of these constructs was built on it." And he's like, "I'm gonna lay down on the table."
Oh boy.
So he does, and this is the thing you had written in where they have to make each saving throw, every ability saving throw in order, and then what happens to them depends on the results of those. If they succeed at most of them, they get a good benefit that all of their ability scores become equal to their highest rated ability score. If they fail at more of them, all of their ability scores become equal to their lowest ability score.
Oh.
And if it's exactly even, all of their ability scores become 12. Well, he succeeded at all but one save. He did not roll below an 18 on the die.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, he's rolled out in the open, so it was all legit. He just rolled super well through those, and so all of his ability scores went to 18. So he got up and he's like, "Guys, you got to try this thing. This is great."
I'm sure it went just as well for everybody else.
No, everyone else was like, "You know what? I don't think I'm going to do that."
I
Like,
do know
Wise
that there
decision.
was. I do know that there was another table that everyone did it and got reduced down to the lowest.
Oh
score.
no.
I
Dave
think that
said
would.
a
God.
couple of his people tried it and got equalized to 12.
Oh, I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not the worst thing to happen, but
It's
like,
not great.
not great.
Modern D&D generally assumes that by 6th level, you're going to have at least one 18 in your most important stat.
Yeah. So I do know. Well, Christian, I don't want to interrupt you. What else did your group do?
So they did most of the first floor. They did really great on the trivia, the one in the library with the
Mhm.
Egyptian trivia questions. They had one player with them that knew all that stuff. The only one they
Nice.
missed was the one about the. She could not remember the name of Amit. She knew she could describe it to me. She knew what the function of it was. She knew the lore behind her, but she could not remember the name.
Oh,
And then the only other one they missed was the one about the amount of mummified animals. But
Yeah,
that was
I
other than,
had-
hard.
like,
That
I
was
had
hard.
one guy say, "He's like, it's impossible for to know that." I'm like, well, you weren't required to really get all of them. Like,
Mhm.
it's you're gonna miss some. That was the intent. And I kind of explained to him, like, I ran this that is the third tournament, and like I had other questions that were just near impossible to get. Um, and
Yeah.
So I get that. Like, you wanted to get all the questions answered. I do like the fact that when David was kind of talking about Keshnar before the tournament, that he gave one of the answers in that beginning opening statement. So if at least you didn't know anything, you would know that the phoenix is the first sound that creation heard, and that it
Mhm.
would be the last sound. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know if he intended to give that answer away then, but I'm glad he did. you know. Um, so that was real cool. And
Yeah. So they did the trivia. They did the Sphinx room. They answered all of that correctly. They got to the chemical room, the alchemy stuff, figured out that it was a laboratory, and they're like, oh, figured out, if you made, the right checks, you figured out how much stuff you could make, and they're like, can we just make a bunch of alchemist fire and acid? And I'm like, yeah, technically you can. And they're like, okay, well, we're ready to
again,
kill some trolls now.
not something that I actually was thinking of. I put in there that they could make spell components up to like $1,000 in value.
But you
But
did
like,
put in there that the thing was an alchemist
yeah. So
workshop, an alchemist tool bench eventually, and they had 1,000 gold worth of material essentially. So
yeah. So yeah, that room is basically where Ta created the essential building blocks of the universe, like creating the initial, like, okay, water's going to be these molecules and stuck them together. That was kind of my intent for it. Um, so the fact that they were like, yeah, let's just take this a step further. Let's just make our own shit out of it. I was like, yeah, you passed the check. You got it.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
They didn't go in the bound demon room. That was one they didn't end up going. They decided to, at some point, that they were going to go back and go to that. They knew they had passed a room up, and they decided that's when they decided to go back and do the acid thing, which they were clever in figuring out, and then get in there. And they ran out of time when they were in the middle of fighting the warlord to get that second key.
Oh, I was really hoping someone would free that trapped spawn of APAP, but no one did. I wanted someone to fight a CR-28 dragon.
That'd be a very short fight.
Yeah. So Jay, what did your table do?
Absolutely nothing because we weren't able to play on Sunday, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there.
Boo.
Yeah.
I do know that the winning table, Dungeon Lord Jay's team, they were running fast. Dungeon Lord Jay runs, just like hits them at the grindstone and keeps pushing him to kind of get through, as much as he can. That's just like his style, though. So they're going through that. They're chugging through the dungeon. They were able to access Tosh Treasury, and I guess just in random happenstance, they guess the answer to the puzzle in that room correctly, and that's where they got all the cool fucking massive gear, like the staff of the Archmage, the Vorpal sword, and the +3 artifact plate mail that I gave them. And it was then they went down to basically finish off the monsters that they didn't fight, because now they have all this cool gear. So they went back and just started just going to town on all the big bad guys everywhere. And I think they just like Vorpal sworded like 2 of the trolls. I'm not sure which 2, but like 2 of the ones they had difficulties fighting and they just ran past. They just went back and like Vorpal sworded them to death. So good on them, I guess. But they're also the group that left early, so they want to get teleported away. And then one of my DMs, she's been in my Adventure League games, I think since she was like 15. It's been like 5 years. So she came out and she did a table, and she had 3 people at her table. 2 of them were brand new players and have never really played D&D before, and just one was one of those kids' dads. And I think they came in 3rd overall, which was quite impressive, being down a person and not having played the game that at all or that much at all, to still come in 3rd overall. I thought that was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think, Dan, your team was the lowest scoring team.
Was it?
I think so.
Because they had minus 80
deaths.
points for the 2 deaths.
Yeah. I think I would definitely change that in retrospect in like for like the next tournament. But the cool thing about the tournament is, like, even if someone knows, let's say, the entire tournament like the back of their hand because they've done it before or something, you can still change the scorecard up. And even if they do everything again, they might not do the things that get some points next time, So there's some replayability to it, which is nice. But yeah, overall, I think it was really good. There weren't very many issues that like people had to come ask me questions. I think one person asked me whether or not the paladin aura could be cleansed off by the robots. I said no, because it's not really a magical item.
Yeah,
and
that's what I said.
Yeah, so I said no to that. Some people asked questions of the Oracle that the DM didn't know the answer to, so they just came over and asked me, and I just said, "Oh, it's that and that," David's table was players that I played a lot of Shadow Dark with. It's my friend Mark, his wife Suzanne, and Steve One, and Ariel. And Mark and Suzanne, they love playing tabletop, but they don't like 5e. They just don't like it's overcomplicated superhero style characters. But they play a lot
Fair
of
enough.
Shadow Dark.
Sounds like good people.
Yep.
Yeah, I like these people.
Yeah.
I
like
want
these
their
people.
table next time.
Well, they wanted to run Keshnar with David, so I was like, you know what, I'll give you David's table. You're gonna have fun, and they had a lot of fun. I think I would like to see the Shadow Dark version of this of this tournament made.
All right, we could do
I think
that.
it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, it was successful. Sold a lot of books, sold a lot of Keshnar merchandise. Zenergy bought a bunch of books as well too to leave on the shelf. So I now have a book that I participated in and you all participated in on a store shelf somewhere.
Hell yeah.
That's cool.
We're hoping to bring this other places so other people can buy it and everything. So I'm going to be working on that. We got the
I'd like
The
to run the
ch-
tournament other places too, and other game stores. That'd be fun.
yeah, the Keshinar Vegas events coming up next year. Gonna do that. I'm gonna run games for Keshinar at GaryCon, and yeah, future's bright with Raw, I guess.
Raw.
That was our weekend. And again, what did you do, Jay? Nothing. Nothing
I
at all.
told- yeah, nothing
Rude.
because
Relaxed,
Yeah.
stayed indoors, AC.
yeah, that's very much what I did. It was a good weekend.
Yeah,
Not
doesn't
doing
sound bad.
anything.
Yeah, one picture I didn't post from the tournament was the reward that David gave us for DMing for him. He gave us a little gift, and he pulled out this little Orthane box while we're having dinner, and he presented it to us, and we all opened it up, and inside was an invisible, non-existent die. And
Beautiful.
he was like, "Wait, hold on!" And then he put like a Splenda packet in one, an equal packet in the other, and a sugar packet in the third. I was like, "Sorry, guys, there you go." So now I
Awesome.
got my Splenda packet Orthane deck box. Right
Didn't
here.
even give you stevia. Like, damn.
One of us had stevia, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Everything's just equal to me. That's the way it was in the North when I grew up. I like unsweet tea. Oh, okay, honey. Do you want sweet and low or equal? Equal, please.
Ugh. Well, sweet and low was also it was definitely worse than equal, but equal is pretty gross too.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have
none of
sweet
it,
tea.
None of it belongs in tea.
That's true. I'd rather
Right.
have nothing in tea, not sugar.
Yeah. Here's you some cold tea and put your crystals in it that won't melt and terrible shit. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Assuming we have a next topic. We could talk about this thing that Christian posted earlier, the on tabletop RPG Kickstarters merchandise and 600% markups.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read through all of this?
I actually
Yeah,
did.
I took a look through it, and you guys give your opinions first because I'm just gonna, complain.
I mean, no, go ahead and complain. That way we can tell you why you're wrong or right.
No, you first.
Mostly wrong.
All right,
Look-
fine. I'll talk about it. So it's written by the creator of Level Up 5e and the head writer of Ian World. Goes by Morris, I guess.
Mhm.
But it essentially goes over tabletop RPG Kickstarters and the fact that of the Kickstarters that have been done in tabletop RPGs in the last decade, there have been 58 that have made over $1 million, and only 2 of them managed to do it without pushing a bunch of other stuff other than the book that they were selling. And those are Shadow Arc and Coyote and Crow, which I've never heard of.
Coyote and Crow, we talked about it briefly a while back. It's if the premise sort of is if the New World had not been colonized, where would the Native Americans be? And it's sort
Okay.
of science fiction-y.
Yeah. I think I've seen something like that, or I've seen something from them before. Okay, so that was a couple years ago, though, right?
Yeah, that was 3 or 4 years at least, if not longer.
So what the gist of what this guy is getting at is that in order to have a successful Kickstarter that's actually going to make sure that you're not going to lose money, you kind of have to include other stuff. And he's pulling from like publicly available information from Kickstarter. So one of the examples he gives is one of these Kickstarters that just finished recently, Neon Odyssey, which I don't know if you guys. I think we might have talked about it.
It's the same people who did Crooked Moon.
Yep.
So Neon Odyssey's average pledge level was $328,
which is insane.
But if you look at the stuff that they end up offering, yeah, they got the books. The art is phenomenal. just like Crooked Moon, but they've got miniatures, they've got STLs, they've got plushies, they've got dice, they've got stickers, they've got dice spinners, they've got pins for your bag, they've got
Do they have pogs? They need
pogs.
pogs.
They have a special edition slipcase version, like all of these upgrades that you can get for it. So it makes a lot of sense that you end up with $328 as the average backer. Still crazy to me. I don't think I've ever done $328 on a Kickstarter, but I guess I'm
No.
cheap. So most recent most recent $1 million plus TTRPG crowdfunder, at least until Dungeons and Daddies finishes in a few days, not BDSM, was the Deathbringer TTRPG by our good friend Professor DM for Roll for Combat. And he notes something that I had noticed as soon as I had seen it, and it was linked to me by you guys. He Roll for Combat utilized two different strategies, and there was a huge early bird reward where if you pledge X level, you get the early bird reward of this bonus Deathbringer, the male or the female version of the statuette, which is like a exclusive sort of thing. And if you don't do the early bird pledge, then you can still get the statuette, but it costs you $300, which is, I mean, I don't think I'd ever pay $300 for a.
I don't care about a statue at all. So yeah.
So, but other stuff that that was included in the Kickstarter was the dice. The Deathbringer dice was also I've seen this before, where like if you, and I think actually David Hayden did this for Keshinar, if you sign up for notifications for whenever the Kickstarter starts and you pledge $1 before the Kickstarter starts, and then you end up actually pledging for it, you get a free set of dice. So David sent out those really cool dice that had like the eyeball in them. And Professor DM had the same sort of thing where you get a free set of Deathbringer dice if you end up signing up for the notification, and then you end up pledging. So even though I only bought the book for Deathbringer, I did sign up for the notification, and I paid my $1 for Deathbringer dice, which otherwise cost $20. So he kind of goes on and says, just to compare two very recent Kickstarters that were, quite successful. We have Lazy DM Mike Shea, who did the Rise of the Lazy Game Master, and that reached $464,000 with an average pledge of $52. He had more backers than Professor DM. Professor DM had more than twice the amount of money pledged because of all the extras. Because the only thing that Rise of Lazy Dungeon Game Master had was a book. That was it. But the difference was $52 average versus $171 average. So Mike Shea sold more copies of the book than Roll for Combat did, but Roll for Combat definitely made way more money on the additional merchandise that they ended up selling.
Yep.
So, and he kind of breaks down the three eras of crowdfunding, which is kind of interesting. This is the beginning of it is creators' first era, when the creators just raised fund to make a thing that they could not afford to make otherwise. Pre-orders, the second era, which is what we're really still kind of at, is when creators use it as a sales and marketing platform to sell something that they've already created or have nearly finished creating, but really just want to have the pre-orders effectively, and so you're not making 60,000 books for only 6,000 they're going to sell, and then the last one is storefront, and this is the third era. A crowdfunder is a pop-up merchandising storefront for a brand that sells a plethora of things that are related to it, which is what obviously Neon Odyssey has done and Deathbringer has done. Mm-hmm. So what he ends up getting to, though, is that the bottom line is that some of the accessories, which is how a lot of the extra money that people are making on these things, to kind of pad out their bottom line, cover all the bases, make sure that they're not in the red, is dice can be incredibly expensive to make, and you can buy some incredibly expensive dice. So, for example, the Deathbringer set of Total Party Kill 6 dice sets, which are these really cool looking sort of looks like
Almost
weathered dice
like
that have
frosted.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like they've gone through like a rock tumbler or something, like some
Yeah.
old ass dice that have gone through a rock tumbler. But what he gets at is that these exact dice, or something strikingly close to it, are sold by another company called Hackstech. 6 sets of dice with a dice bag for $18. As part of the Kickstarter, they were $120, and people bought them
Oh,
because
of
they're
course
really
they
cool
did.
looking fucking dice.
They're Deathbringer. We got to back it and get everything with it.
Sure. So, and there's certain other things where people are definitely going to make their money back hand over fist as well. Like, he takes, for example, like the denim jacket. Yeah, the denim jacket's got a cool Deathbringer thing on it, and they've got a cute model modeling it, but a denim jacket costs about $30, and it's basically just an iron-on print on the back of it. Sure, you got to pay somebody to do it and you got to ship it out, but is it a $100 jacket? Probably not. Is it a $300 jacket? Definitely not. And that's what it's listing as, $300 for the denim jacket.
Yeah, with the patch on it, mind you.
With the patch on it, yeah, sure.
Sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure not many of them sold, but I'm sure 20 or 30 of them did. That's sizable return.
Yep.
But anyway, he basically just breaks this down as just an insight of crowdfunding and how it's done and how people have done it. And he basically gives his own experience, because like I said, he did Level Up 5e, which was a successful Kickstarter, but I don't even think it was $1 million Kickstarter, was it?
No, he hasn't had any that have hit that far. That's what he said. He's done like 50 Kickstarters for various products, and all of his tend to be tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
at most.
He's got enough of a fan base to be successful and to not lose money on the products that he's making. But he basically says that, listen, I write and I publish books. I don't know anything about selling dice and plushies and models and things like that, and more power to the people that manage to do so. But it also kind of makes sense to me now why Professor DM very intelligently grouped up with Roll for Combat, because they got that shit down on lockdown.
Yeah. They've done so many Kickstarters. And
yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know the process.
They've got us. So I read further. I read actually against my better judgment. I read into the comments.
Uh-oh.
And I was glad. I was glad that I did, because Mike Shea responds in the comments, as well as someone from Roll for Combat. I don't know if it's
Mike Merles
Steven or someone.
Oh, Mike Merles responds in here too. Oh,
so a couple other people respond, and they talk about the things a little bit. Mike Shea talks about how it's just him and his wife basically running their side of the business, so he has no interest in doing all this other stuff, because that's just a whole world he doesn't know anything about. He wants to make a book. He likes making D&D books, and that's what he's going to make, and he does it in a way that he still makes money on them. One of the things he talks about is the invisible expenditure of ad money. A lot of these big Kickstarters also spend big on ads to draw people in. And that's one of the things. But he says he keeps his focused. He knows what he needs to do to make a product and to still be profitable, even if he's never going to hit that $1 million by having all these extra add-ons. But he's like, for the two of us, it doesn't make sense. He's like, I don't want to handle all the logistics of trying to hunt down manufacturers and other things like that, and then having to find distribution partners. He's like, it's more headache than it's worth for him, which is kind of the same thing that Morris has talked about. So whoever for Roll for Combat does kind of chime in, though they're a little cagey on answers in some places. I don't think they're trying to be deceptive, more than that they're just not kind of going through their business practices in the open. They talk about the dice aren't these dice from that company. They are similar to that, and he's just basically talking about every company, every business has some item that is probably its margin item that it marks up to make a profit, because you know that there's a bunch of products that you sell that are a very slim margin that you make very little on. So in order to pay for, running a business and making a profit and paying your employees, you have to have some items that you mark up higher, and knowing that these are going to be the things that we're really going to make money on, because there's other things that we're selling near cost.
Yep. I mean, if you've ever been to a movie theater, you kind of understand this premise. They don't make money off of the films; they make money off of the concessions,
Right.
Yeah.
which is why you pay $5
$15
for a soda.
for popcorn.
Right.
And,
But
yeah.
yeah, but the interesting was, yeah, he had to be like, yeah, to all of these $1 million plus Kickstarter share in common that their average pledges are higher than $100, and they all get that by adding on all this other stuff that you can buy, which is a basic marketing thing. I've watched a lot of videos by a few marketing guys where they talk about you always want to have a super high tier price, some elite tier prices, because someone will pay for it, and someone will look at the scale of prices, and if there's a higher one, they'll be like, well, I can pick the higher one. So he's like, you always have big ticket stuff because somebody will buy the big ticket stuff. Everyone will look like there will be people that are the completionists that feel like, well, I got to have all the stuff. I can't just have the one thing. I gotta get it. I gotta get it all.
Yep.
Whales versus completionists.
There's a lot of FOMO that happens in Kickstarters. I am
Yes.
guilty of that myself. Like, I'm never going to be able to get this again. They're never going to offer this thing again. I'm going to upgrade my pledge. My Western Reaches Kickstarter. Maybe. Listen, the book looks really sweet.
It does.
But yeah, I mean, the ad revenue capitalizes on FOMO. It really does. Sly First, actually, if you keep on going through, I think comment number 34, he breaks down where all of the backers came from. Like 44% of his backers are basically his regular fans that follow his emails.
Mhm.
And then people that just found him in Kickstarter is another 24%. Paid ads is only 13%. And he keeps on going down from there. It's like direct traffic is 9%, 3% from YouTube, search engine 3%, website, web store 2%, social media is only 1%, which is actually kind of surprising to me. But
I don't think a lot of his people are on social media.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Versus, I would love to see like Legends of Antris and how much of theirs came from social media, because they have a huge social media presence. I don't think Sly Flourish
That's
does.
true. That's correct. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, it's interesting to see the breakdowns of different groups. I've seen a few of the smaller creators that have done stuff for like, Zine Month or whatever, that have done a whole breakdown of like, this is what everything cost me to do, and how much I made from the whole process, and how it went. And those are interesting to watch.
Yeah. So my thoughts on all this was, initially I was just like, is this guy just jealous that his stuff isn't getting, breaking $1 million? And I'm glad you read through the comments where it sounds like he's not. He was just kind of like, I guess something must have spurred this conversation with him though, and for him to sit there and type all it up.
Yeah, no, he mentions in the comments that he has not had the stomach to try to work out all the logistics for doing extra stuff.
Yeah, didn't he mention that he was just now going to do a set of dice for his next Kickstarter with whatever book he's doing?
Yes, he mentioned he's going to experiment a little bit with dice and maybe a DM screen as an add-on for.
Yeah,
I could have sworn this is Level Up Games, so Level Up, not Level Up 5e, I guess.
Level Up 5e, Level Up 5e.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure I got
Ian World, Ian Publishing.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that I got the collector's edition version of the book for Level Up 5e. So I mean, he's done some of that, because like I have a slipcase and extra ribbons. I don't think it was all that. Yeah, and then there was just a normal book version of it too. Yeah. So, I mean, like when I look at a Kickstarter, I don't care that there's extra dice. I like that there is, and so like if I can find like an all-inclusive bundle for like $250, and I get the special edition cover, and I get like a signed piece of artwork, and I get to feel included in the community if I'm doing this, and I know this money's going to a independent creator or independent small team, I don't mind spending extra money on that. I'm also the kind of guy that if I have the money to go to the theater, and buy the soda there and the snacks there, I will, because I like my local theater and I want my local theater to continue being my local theater. So like, I understand that there's a markup. I understand that that is there, and I will pay the premium price because I'm in a situation where I can afford that premium price. Now, if I was in high school still or in college, F you, I'm sneaking in snacks and a drink, so I get that. So, I'm happy that he's going out there and branching off into more things. I don't see the point of pins, but sweet
Seem
baby
to be
Jesus,
popular.
my wife loves pins. She's got a cork wall of pins.
I have a bunch of pins in my bag too, and I love them too. And you know what? To each their own. Like, some people are going to be all about the pins. Some people like stickers. Some people like putting stickers all over everything. Like one of the players at my table this weekend had like all kinds of nerdy stickers all over his PHB. I'm like, okay. I mean, everyone has their own thing, and
I think that was John.
I used to do when I would run games at a store or high school. I kept like all the stuff from that campaign in like a 3-ring binder, and that binder would be covered in D&D stickers that used to come with the stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that, and I use I'm an old punk. I used to have the thing, this covered in patches and the pins and stuff on the vest and all that crap. So I get that. I get the same impulse from gaming nerds. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Instead of the jacket or the vest with all your patches from your favorite band, it's all your nerd stuff that you like.
I just because I like to combine those things. My bag. Let's see here. I've got the old school first edition Beholder. I've got an RPGA pin. I've got the Wizard of Lake Geneva. I've got a Goonies pin. Got Bob Ross. Got a Social Distortion pin. Rancid. Lugcon. Mimic. A Critical Fail because that's what I always do. And a Bad Religion pin. So I kind of combined both of mine. Oh, I've also got a Knight on a cat. So that one was
the
pretty
only
sweet.
reason
I like
I don't have pins all over my bag is because I'm so rough on things that I break them all off. The backings come off. They end up gone and missing.
Yeah, my wife.
I have a solution for that. Rare earth magnet backing.
My wife has a ton of enamel pins, and I have a bunch of enamel D&D pins on my bag, my D&D bag, my DM bag, and she had like these like little like Allen key like tightener things, so I can put on them, so I can poke it through the thing and just tighten these little things around it so they don't pop off. Like my wife has spent more of my money probably buying enamel pins off a Kickstarter than I can imagine. Still to this day,
I need to know this tech because the standard pin thing doesn't work for me. So yeah,
right,
I'm in.
So like my wife is still getting enamel pins in the mail, and one arrived literally yesterday. Okay. And she swear to God that she hasn't bought any in like 3 months. And I'm like, when did you order this? I don't know, years ago? It's just showing up now. If we do a Kickstarter, okay.
You don't have any room to talk, man.
No, I'm saying
what kind of Critical Role managers did you just get in the box in that she was complaining about?
Listen, yeah. So, no, if we do a Kickstarter, I'm gonna see. I've actually already looked how much it would cost to make a GDM enamel pin and include it with it. Like, it's not that expensive. Mark it up, make some profit. We want you to keep doing these things. We like that you're doing these things. Make some money off of this shit. Just do it. And if offer the cheap options for the people that can't afford the cheap options, and then put out the whale options as well too. I love the Kickstarters that have for $2,000 you get everything in the $1,000 package, but we'll add you as an NPC to the book. By all means, have that shit. Let the whales give you an extra $1,000 for something that will take you 5 minutes of work. Like, do it. Dude, have fun and do it. Just have the stomach. Creating the pipeline for all this stuff will take some time. And I hope that guy, stomachs up and gets the pipeline out there, because I want him to continue making more level up stuff.
Look, it's one thing if you're one or 2 people. It's another thing when you're an entire team. If we ran a Kickstarter, there's the 4 of us. And let's be realistic, we're all very distracted, so it would not be a simple thing. Getting a book out there, that's doable, maybe some dice and some pens, but we're not likely to be releasing, $300 statues and denim jackets. Like,
No, we wouldn't start there either. You don't start there.
Right.
You start with just the one thing, the one book. Do something simple first, and then you can get your legs under you.
You can do book, dice, and speakers and not have a problem.
Speakers? Now we're going to manufacture
Oh,
electronics?
Lord.
What the hell, man?
No, book, dice, and stickers. You can do those 3 things, and it'd be fine. Like right now, I had someone that was doing the GDM stickers for us, but she's not doing it anymore, so I had to go through Vistaprint. But there are other options out there that you can.
There's tons of print on demand places that can do stickers. Yeah.
ChessX will give you custom dice as well too, and there's other places that get more custom dice. We don't need to have
here, coming soon, a custom Grumpy Dungeon Master's Bluetooth speaker.
It's orange. It's really good.
Yeah, it's orange and black.
You know what? If I were to have something a little crazy like that was something custom for us, it would be like that easy button from Office Staples or whatever, and just every time you hit it, it goes, just a sigh. That would be what I would have.
Every time you turn it on, that's the first noise it makes.
But like, be brave and do it. Start small. When you feel comfortable, move forward. Just
be smart.
You're not going to start off like Legend of Adventures. I still don't know how they accomplished what they accomplished. I know how Keshnar accomplished what they accomplished, but I don't know how Legend of Adventures did it. Like that was
because they have a lot. You said it earlier. They have a massive social media following.
But that's how you get a lot of people. How did they know how to do all? Stuff?
I mean, there's a team of them. This isn't just like 4 people. Like there's a whole
but even if it's 6 people, if you've never dealt with manufacturers in China for miniatures, like how do you know even like where to start, man?
If you already have the money, and I'm not saying they had the money for putting the whole Kickstarter together, but if you already have money and you already have a team, you hire people who know how to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, which is my assumption of what they did.
Yeah, and I know there are people out there that do that. There are services out there for people to do that, but it's just crazy how successful they were and them getting as far as they did. Good on them.
Yeah.
I don't want people getting jealous over $1 million Kickstarters.
I don't think anyone is.
All right.
I really don't.
I think this was just an informational thing. This wasn't a jealousy. This was just an informational on how it's done and how it's interesting that it's what you have to get your pledge up to get there and what that involves, being a bunch of stuff that is not supposedly your quote unquote core product.
I will say the Level Up 5e is the one Kickstarter that I regret not backing fully. I bought the PDF of it, but I really wish I had the physical copies because that's something I would have used at some point. But
yeah, whenever I got the books, I actually integrated a fair amount of that into my game. My Monday night 5e games, just to kind of give it a little bit of slice of life.
Yeah, I would have used a lot of the spell options. The fact that you had like 3 variants of a lot of the spells and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of cool ideas.
Yeah, I definitely did use that book quite a bit. I was glad that I bought it. I've had some regrettable purchases as well too that haven't come through. I know that soon I'll be getting my Tomb of Geizengak stuff.
And maybe we can finally talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, we can finally talk about it on the podcast. But like I messaged them. I was like, hey, what's the status of it? And they have a team of people there that does that, and we're able to answer my questions and stuff. And I hope I get my stuff soon. But like I think we should do a Kickstarter. If you're listening and you're this far in and you want us to do a Kickstarter, tell us what we should kickstart or back a kid or whatnot.
No.
What do you want to see from us?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, let us know in the comments
He's
below.
he's already putting more work on the table for us.
I've got a day job too.
Yeah, we all do.
Do we all have a day job?
I don't know.
Okay.
Does Matt Mercer have a day job with his top 10 list?
He
Top 10
does
list
actually.
or his day job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just put out a new one. It was a top 10 ways